Rebel salute, rebel salute. Merry Christmas to everyone out there. If you're spending time with your family, if you're somewhere where you're not spending time with your family, whether you're at a bar in Kenya, somewhere else, or wherever you are in the world, if you're watching this live, this is Kenya Revolutionary, the contrarian, with another day of another topic. We don't stop just because it's Christmas. I mean, Merry Christmas to all of you that celebrate Christmas. Happy Kwanzaa. Uh, Not Kenya Kwanzaa, but Kwanzaa. Happy Hanukkah for those Jewish brothers and sisters who are out there who celebrate the Jewish occasion. Okay. Anyway, today the topic is Mama Ngina's lawsuits that brings up the land issue. Does it bring up the land issue? Mama Ngina's lawsuits. Remember, a few days ago, 2 days or 3 days ago, Mama Ngina, she, along with Mr. Kritikos, I forgot his name, but I just remember his last Greek-sounding name, Kritikos, filed a lawsuit against the government because they wanted a certificate of their title for a piece of land that they claim is theirs. Will this actually open up an old wound about land? Because I think it is very important that we look at this issue. I'm going to have another live along this week. And the title of this live will be a discussion. It will be the war, Kenya's civil war that we've postponed, okay? And this ties in with the topic today because, as you know, we've averted several times the civil war, especially during elections, after elections. You know, remember 2007, I'll just give you this example. In 2007, when we had those atrocities that happened in Rift Valley, when the Kalenjins were said to be attacking the Kikuyus that were in Rift Valley. Their reasoning was they felt like the Kikuyus were settling in their land and they wanted their land back, okay? So this is an example of issues that we face in the coastal regional area, especially this very piece of land that Mama Ngina and Kritikos want the certificate for the title. This land has been claimed by the Coastarians. They say that during, in the 1960s, after the President Kenyatta became the president of the Republic of Kenya, he grabbed land in Taita Taveta, okay? Most Coastarians, the people who stay there, they are claiming, yes, Mr. Guria, rebel salutes. Thank you very much. Merry Christmas, sir. Yes, it's a rough game. That is true. Very, very true. Like my friend here says, the land business is a rough game. Life and death. Yes, I agree with you. It's a very, 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 very dangerous issue. But I feel the reason why I want to make this live here is because I think at some point we'll have to face this issue, whether we like it or not. If we don't address it, our children will have to address it. If not, our children's children will have to address it. So just to give you a perspective on what I'm talking about, because you might be here, you might be listening and wondering, thinking, why am I waffling about? Why am I evoking Mama Ngina's name? This is based on what the lawsuit that they actually petitioned in the court against the government for them to receive this certificate. But let me just play a clip, a news clip, so we can get an understanding. Then I'll come back and we can have an understanding of how this case is built, where are we going with this, and what are the implications of this case. Because I think this is something that can stir up something bigger than what Miss Kenyatta might be looking for. But anyway, just in case anyone who's joining us here, my name is Kenya Revolutionary. If you haven't subscribed to my channel, please go ahead and subscribe. Join in. Let me post the link for anyone who would like to be part of the discussion. If you have some information that you would like to share with me, because this land issue is not only the Kenyatta family. Let's not get it twisted. I'm not just using the Kenyatta family only. They're not the only guilty ones in this issue. There are so many families, the Moi family, you know, and most of the prominent politicians in Kenya today are also said to have grabbed massive land. And this issue shall be addressed at some point in our history. And in my next live, I'll be talking about, as I've said, we'll be talking about the Kenya civil war that we've always postponed, because it's coming, ladies and gentlemen. It's coming. I'm not praying for it, but it's going to happen one day if it's not addressed. Okay, so let me post the link. If you want to join this discussion, I will post the link right now. Let me just go ahead and do that. And so that if you want to join, you can join in and chime in. Here it's not just, I would like it to be interactive. So if you have your own view, you can come in. It's a Christmas day. It will be nice to you, okay? So there's the link on the chat if you are on Facebook. If you can't see it, this is the link. If you're on X, I'm there, I'm posting it. Just get on my Facebook and you'll see it. Sorry, not Facebook, but on YouTube channel, Kenya Revolutionary, as the name there suggests. And you'll see, there's the link if you want to join in the discussion. But let me play this video first so you can know, we can get a background of what I'm talking about. Again, rebel salute to Mr. I don't know if you're Mr. Miss, but I'm assuming you're Mr. But good year. Thank you very much. You've been a stalwart supporter of these small channels. Again, I hope you get the goodies from the other channel. I will work on getting you something for supporting channels like this. But anyway, let me play this video so we can get a background of what I'm talking about, because I want you to get an understanding of what I mean when I talk about this. Here's the news clip about this this issue. Okay, let's get ready, and I will play it just about now. Let's go.
Government over ownership of a 1,000-hectare piece of land in Taita Taveta. Mama Ngina, together with former Taveta legislator Basil Criticals, want the courts to compel the Chief Lands Registrar and the Attorney General to issue them with the original certificate of title for the piece of land. The duo, who claim joint ownership of the land, are challenging the decision of the government officials to refuse to issue them with a critical document, as Hassan Mugambi now reports.
In the civil suit, former First Lady Mama Ngina Kenyatta and former Member of Parliament Basil Criticals are seeking the court to grant them leave to apply for a judicial review order and to compel the relevant government agencies, including the Lands Docket and the Office of the Attorney General, to issue them with a title deed for a 1,062.3 hectares piece of land in Taita Taveta. Mama Ngina and the former Taveta MP Basil Criticals claim to be the joint owners of the piece of land in Taveta. They are challenging the registrar's refusal and delay in granting them the certificate over the said piece of land. In an affidavit, Criticals says before the subdivision of the land, they were the registered owners as joint proprietors. However, later, parties divided the land and transferred the subdivision, which were registered and given their respective certificates of title. By October 2022, what remained was the piece of land in question. Critical says he then applied for registration of what was remaining, the 1,062.3 hectares. He says he submitted to the Lands Office the title and the original deed for purposes of registration. The two claim to enjoy land rights of absolute ownership over the land. They, however, claim the registrar has refused to grant them the title. Justice John Chigiti, being satisfied that there is a case fit for further consideration, certified the matter as urgent. He allowed Mama Ngina and Criticals to challenge the issues raised to serve their motion within 14 days. In this period, the Chief Lands Registrar and the AG will have to respond. The matter will be mentioned on the 5th of March 2024. Hassan Mugambi, Citizen.
Recordings just got better.
Okay. Good. All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, this land in Taita Taveta is one of the many thousands of acres that the Kenyatta family had, I won't say acquired, grabbed. Let me take you back historically, okay? In 1963, when we got independence, even before we got independence, okay, the British, the colonialists, the British settlers that were remember when they came here, when they landed in Kenya in 1895, okay, they moved the settlers, took the land, okay, and settled there, okay? So when they were leaving, the IMF, along with the British government, had something called the Million Acre Land Scheme, okay? Okay, let me see what my friend is saying. Goodyear is saying, Rebel will join if you don't use block button. Mama Ngina and her cronies jumping the queue behind the entitlement of the name. real medieval ways. Okay, okay. If you don't use the black one, I will not use the block button. I don't even have the block button. I don't even block anyone here, but yeah, you're free to join anytime. Okay. All right, good. Yeah, very good observation. Very good observation. But yeah, as I was saying, when the British wanted to hand over, when they were leaving, the British, they never quite left, but they had their interests. Okay, but before they left, the IMF, along with the British government, before they left, they had a program called the Million Acre Land Scheme. This was basically how they were going to hand over back the land that they settled in back to the indigenous African landowners that they took the land from. Okay, but before they did this, during the negotiations at Lancaster, the Africans there, among others, Jomo Kenyatta, said that before that program was to be implemented, they wanted them to be declared independent first as a nation, to become a republic first. Then that Million Acre Land Scheme to be implemented after we get our independence, not before, okay? So they went ahead and we declared independence in 1963, as you all know, okay? And what happened is this. Most of the top brass, the people who are connected to this English monarchy, this English empire, British Empire, Jomo Kenyatta and his friends, being the president of the new Republic of Kenya, okay? Because he was part of the guy who was overseeing this Million Acre Land Scheme, he grabbed a lot of this land, okay? Instead of giving back this land to the people, the indigenous Africans, let's say, for example, the people of the Taita Taveta people, like the land in Taita Taveta, instead of giving that land back to the indigenous people, he actually grabbed it for his own use. And some of it was used by the British as instead of giving back to this, giving it back to the indigenous people, they actually leased it back to the African people for even 100 years, okay? They said for the next 100 years, we shall lease it back to you. So basically you can use that land, but you will be paying us back, okay? So I will play Kalwale. Bonnie Kalwale will explain this about what happened in that scheme, okay? So bear with me. Let me play this video so you can get an understanding. Bonnie Kalwale was very bold before, things went haywire with him. But here is Bonnie Kalwale explaining about that scheme and how things happen. So stay tuned. This is very, very interesting. I want you to get this because there's value to understand how this land grabbing scheme happened, whether it started with, it started with Jomo Kenyatta, the Kenyatta family, and that's how they grabbed a lot of, it is said they grabbed as much as 500,000 acres of land. Okay, they're the #1 landowners in Kenya and the richest family in Kenya, as you all know. So let's hear from Bonnie Kalwale explain this program, okay, and what really happened. Here's Bonnie Kalwale.
Without speaking to the important issue of injustice in this country. Round about the time of independence, the British government and the World Bank created a fund which they called the Settlement Transfer Scheme. This scheme was so abused because whereas it was supposed to benefit Black people, Kenyans, to possess what was then owned by the white settlers, it was abused by politicians and wealthy people to the extent, and with all due respect, this is a historical fact, it is documented, it is even in the Forbes magazine typifying the richest people of this country. And because of that, the Kenyatta family ended up owning 500,000 acres of land because of that abuse of this World Bank British government funded program. Now, subsequent politicians, when they have come into power, they have looked at that and said, if one family then used that opportunity to unjustifiably get land for themselves, people have looked at political power as an opportunity to acquire tracts of land, of public land. Because the Mau was not settled by white colonists, it then became available to satisfy this greed that we are talking to. I'm lucky that on this panel, I'm the only one who was there. In 2009, after these arguments raised by my brother Amolo and Cheruyot and many others who are not on this panel, Parliament took a decision. And I voted on that day. And Raila voted on that day. And Ruto voted on that day. And Uhuru voted on that day. The decision was, considering many things, Parliament resolved that large-scale and small-scale landowners in the Mau would be compensated. Armed with that, Prime Minister Raila Odinga decided that it must be implemented. And Deputy Prime Minister and Minister for Finance, Uhuru Kenyatta, refused. That Treasury was not going to release money to compensate these people because he called it was tantamount to gaming. Uhuru preferred that people not be paid, and Raila wanted that people be paid. Raila came on one Wednesday to Parliament and told Parliament that Treasury had set aside 2 billion shillings to start the compensation exercise. It never took place. Reason being, the people who have got political power and bureaucrats who own land in that place and are politically correct made it difficult for that to take place. The intention at that time was that the government, as the Prime Minister told us in Parliament that afternoon, wanted to recover 103,000 hectares found in the Masai Mau forest, which has got 20,000 hectares, Southwestern Mau forest, which has got 19,000 acres, the East Mau forest, which has got 30,000 Mau, and so on and so forth. This was frustrated. So now, Tobiko, because he wants to look like he's a working minister, he thinks that this is a matter which is new. This is not a matter which is new. He needs to go back to the documents that have been tabled by Cheruyot and other documents at his disposal to bring himself on the same page with those people in the Mau. Nobody went into the Mau by force, especially the small-scale people. What they were doing at home, for example, in Kipsikis, they would sell 4 acres of land, for example. And because in the Mau land was very cheap, they would then go and buy a bigger portion. And they were being given title deeds. So when you go to those people with their children and you kick them out, and the children are supposed to sit exams, and Amolo wants to say that we are pontificating, Amolo, you must know, I know your children, and you know mine. They go to very good schools. They're going to sit exams. The children of the poor are also sitting the same exam with these children. So as we support the eviction of people from the Mau, we should put their conditions. And the first condition should be that we will not die if we stand down the exercise for the next 2-3 months, children to clear with the exams, and during the long holidays, a decision be made on how we can evict these people, one compromise.
Thank you.
The second one, no, this is a very important matter.
I know, but also we need to distribute time.
The second issue, Dibal, that which is a condition, is that we want to see that the exercise to remove people is not focusing only on the 50,000 so-called squatters. small people. We want the exercise to focus most
All right.
on the large-scale honors. I don't know why you're finding it difficult to name the honor, the people who have settled in the Mao, the politicians. Daniel Moy owns 2,333 acres on which he has put a tea factory at Kipta Gich. It is there. Sakayo Jeriot, Olen Tutu, Nyachai, and other families.
So you see the title deeds?
They own that land. So if the government is sincere, instead of these pictures we are seeing of children of the poor being just around with goats, we want to see that factory of the former president being pulled down. Then we shall know this is justice.
Right. Okay.
Paying your bills on time raises your
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, we seen that by Bonnie Kalwale. Bonnie Kalwale was very brave. This man was brave. I don't know what's happened to him. He keeps on flipping flopping. He used to be a Raila supporter, then he's now the Kenya Kwanza. But regardless, Bonnie Kalwale was one of those politicians who need not mince his words. He would tell it as it is. And you heard it say how the Kenyatta family, being Jomo Kenyatta, being the president at the time in 1963, they actually misused that program, that million-acre land scheme. And they grabbed themselves 500,000 acres of land, which include this Taita Taveta land that you hear Miss Mama Ngina and criticals wanting a certificate for it, okay? You have to also keep in mind, there's a law in place today in Kenya. I want to open your eyes, okay? Listen to me carefully and go check it out, because here we don't do things without facts. Go check it out. There's a law called estate duty, okay? E-S-T-A-T-E, duty, D-U-T-Y, estate duty. Under Section 7, which deals, Part 3, which deals with imposition of estate duty, okay? Subsection 3, it spells out the name of Mzee Jomo Kenyatta and Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi. They're exempt from paying taxes. This is the outrageous thing about this land issue too. Go check it out. Estate duty. Go look. Section 7. Under the imposition of the estate duty. Subsection 3. Jomo Kenya. It states. Have you ever heard of a law where it spells out the name of the person? Jomo Kenyatta and Daniel Toroitich Arap Moi will never pay taxes on their land. Their estate duty tax. Okay? This is an example of the country we live in. You heard what Kalwale said. These guys grabbed a bunch of land. Kenyatta is one of them. He's the richest. The Kenyatta family is the richest family in Kenya. The number one land owning family in Kenya. Now, there's something called the Ndungu Report. Okay? Ndungu Report is a report that actually attempts to address this issue, okay? The land that historically has been grabbed from people, whether it's in indigenous people or the people who actually, you know, how they come up with some funny titles and they just claim this is their land, whatever the case. The Ndungu Report actually has something about it. Yes, Mr. Goody, let me see what you have to say. You know, that's my Goody. I'll hire you as my assistant. But here, let's see what Mr. Goody says. He says, the British left Africa, Kenya, long time in peppers. Some still like the Leakeys, but the Kenyans are bullying themselves. The rich grabbing the land because the poor can't afford. Very true. So what happened, Goody? Let me help you. There are some, he's very right. The British physically left, but they never left their interest. Their interest is still intact. And part of it is like the Kenyatta family, okay? These guys, actually, they were like overseers of the British interest. If you go to listen to Mr. Jeremani, I saw him in another channel. He was talking about this company called Lonho or something like that, okay, where the Kenyatta family has interest in that. This is a British company, okay, that is in Kenya. And there's another one. I'll play you the clip in a minute, okay. Yes, let me sing. Shout out to my brother Benson. Yes, thank you, brother Benson. Very good man. Go subscribe to his channel. A very good channel also. Okay, so like I was saying, the British physically left, but their interests were left intact, and they had their own overseers. Okay, so like I say, this program, and you've heard Kalwale say, this program, before it was implemented, the Kenyans say, hey, let's have our independence first before we implement this. So they went ahead and implemented this, and the Kenyatta grabbed this 500,000 acres of land, okay? Among with his cronies, you had them, Nyachai, Moi, Toretich, whatever, okay? And there's some companies that were built in these lands, okay? Coffee farms, okay, that are run. Remember, some of this land were leased back. See how the injustice that it was? I come in your country, take the land. I'm the British, okay? I'm the British guy. I grab the land from you. I chase you away, and once I take it, when I'm done using it, I build a coffee farm over there, coffee factory. And before I leave, instead of giving you back the land, okay, I lease it back to you for 100 years. Think about it. They did that, and they used people like the Kenyattas to actually oversee the operation. So this is what basically the British did. And this is why you see a lot of people, this is huge politicians who are actually running this operation. Now, there's a Ndungu report, Ndungu land report that addresses this stuff, attempts to address this stuff, okay? This commission actually came up and addresses the lands that were illegally or irregularly acquired illegally or in an irregular way, okay? There's parcels of land in Kenya, include these lands, Taita Taveta one that you see Mama Ngina wants to have a certificate for, among many others, okay? They're not the only people who grab land. There are plenty of politicians who did this. So there was a question, will this, as you had Boni Kalwale, when this thing was implemented, you saw the people, one of the people who refused or frustrated the process of implementing this Ndungu report was none other than the finance minister at the time, Mr. Uhuru Kenyatta, the son of Mama Ngina. Of course, because he has vested interest in this land, piece of land, okay? So let's see about this Ndungu report so you can get an idea of what we are going through. But like I say, tomorrow I'll go live and talk to you guys about the topic, the civil war, Kenya's civil war that we always postponed, okay? I will tell you why. This is part of the reason why Kenya, someday we shall come into terms with this. And if we do not address it now peacefully, peaceably, as the Constitution says, we shall have to pick up arms and hurt each other. Because remember, most conflicts in the world are due to land. Majority, number one, conflicts in this world are due to land. The Palestinian and Israeli war is all about land, okay? It is all about land. The Ukrainian war is all about land, okay? Everything, it's always about land. So we need to address this as Kenyans in a peaceful manner, or else this Ndungu report, we have to do it, or else we, and I think this generation, this Ruto government shall face it. I know things are brewing up, as you know, we are being tired of him because he's not respecting the Constitution, or he's piling up in loans and stuff. The cost of living is going up, and things are very tough for Kenyans. But let me tell you something, it will reach a point where Kenyans shall have to clash, okay? They will clash. It's coming within the next 10 years, I'm telling you. But anyway, let's continue to stick to the topic. Let me play this about the Ndungu report so we can get an understanding of what we are talking about, okay? So let me play another video so you can get an understanding of where I'm going with this, why this issue is still a thorny issue. Like my friend, what's his name, Goodia has said, You know, after wishing me Merry Christmas, say land business is a rough game, life and death issue. Let's go to the next video so you can get an understanding on where I'm going with this, why I'm telling you this is something that needs to be addressed. So the next video I will tell you is about the Ndungu report, okay, and why it needs to be addressed. All right, are you ready?
Mission impossible. When the Ndungu report, which inquired into the irregular allocation of public land, was released in 2005, many thought that a process to reclaim such pieces of land was finally in motion. But 4 years later, the report is yet to be formally implemented. The notable stumbling blocks are the constitution and lack of political will.
We may not be able to move forward unless we deal with the issues of land in the basic law, that is the Constitution.
This government of grand confusion is incidentally really worrisome. There are a lot of compromises and deals over important issues.
What is clear, though, is that the Ndungu report recommendations are realistic and can be implemented.
Definitely, we need to address historical injustice. We cannot just kill ourselves. Pastoral land issues, we have to really provide for them. Coastal region land issues. Ever since we were born in this country, they have been with us. I'm told very much we starting with the Arabs and slave trade.
Kenya's land laws have remained trapped in a time warp, an overhang from the colonial days, forcing scores of Kenyans to leave as squatters when tracts of land owned by foreigners lie idle.
We cannot have a Kenyan government, however envisioned, to give anybody a millennium worth of a lease. That cannot be imagined. Therefore, all leases are now streamlined to 99 years.
The report recommended that all illegally acquired titles be revoked. It also recommended that 3 key institutions, including the Land Titles Tribunal, National Land Commission, and a task force be set up to facilitate reforms. The Cabinet has approved a draft land policy which will provide a framework for the implementation of the Ndungu report, but challenges still abound.
With all due respect to Honorable James Orengo, who says that 400 million for the national land policy, there is zero. All the money that is in the means of lands is for recurrent payment of salaries.
There are currently about 60 different statutes addressing land issues, and this is largely the reason why Ndungu report has been difficult to implement. Now, harmonizing these laws would simplify land administration, making it easy to understand and difficult to manipulate. Sylvia Chebet.
Okay, so
Hyundai Tucson versus Toyota RAV4. Hyundai Tucson.
Oh Lord, all right. So you saw that guy who spoke and said, you know, and yes, Mr. So you saw that guy who spoke and said that these guys, the British government, they left and they leased back the land that they took from the indigenous Africans for even a millennia, 1,000 years. And they say, let's bring it back to at least 100. Okay? Just again, like I said before, how outrageous that is. They come to your land, grab it. I know there's a law of discovery in 1435, the law of discovery, where the British, when they went to new lands, okay, outside of the Britannia, okay, when they found the indigenous people, they will push them back and claim their land, and they use that law to claim the land, the law of discovery. That's what they call it. I think it was initiated in 1435, if I'm not wrong. Okay, but still, it should be done away with. That's why you see the Burkina Faso people, remember, Niger, Burkina Faso, and Mali, once they took over power, Ibrahim Traore and his father in Niger, what they did was this. They kicked out the French, they kicked out everybody else, the foreigners, and they said, listen, all those contracts you guys are talking about, those whatever those farms that are in our land, the deals that you made with the previous government is null and void. This is a new administration. We are standing independent. Okay, that's why I say negotiated independence is not truly independent. But anyway, let me not get off track. Let me go back to what this guy said. Okay, These British government were leasing back our land for 1,000 years. Basically, we owe them. Can you imagine? But anyway, you got the point, and you heard the man say, this is outrageous. And the Ndungu report addresses this issue that we need to look at the lands that were acquired illegally, even by the British and the people who actually took it after the British. Let's look, because we can still trace them, like in Taita Taveta, the land that Mama Ngina and the Criticals is dividing up and wants wants a piece of. We can actually go. I hope when they go to this court, because they say that case will be handled in March 7th, okay? I hope this can become an opportunity for people of Taita Taveta to go and claim back the land and say, hey, listen, the British came here in 1895, took up our land, and the Kenyatas, instead of implementing it and giving back to the indigenous people, they grabbed this land and they divided up and leasing it to some fellows so they can get money. As you can see, Mama Ngina is fighting for it. The Kenyatta family, as Kalwale told us, grabbed 500,000 acres of land. That's just one family. There are people who also did something similar, not 500,000, but a lot of acres. What I'm trying to say, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies, and comrades, the Ndungu land report is a pivotal piece of documentation. It should be inscribed in our law, okay? Because if we do not give people their ancestral land, okay, the Taita Taveta, people of Taita Taveta, Wataita, if they don't get their land, if the land that was grabbed in Rift Valley is not given to the original owners, if not, one day we shall have to have a battle. Watu watachapana panga. And it usually happens when the political class starts clashing. So what do I mean? Here we have Mama Ngina going to the courts, okay, to try to fight for this certificate. Now, if Mama Ngina is denied that certificate and told, hey, listen, that land, you don't have certificate for it, it's not yours. Remember, this family, Eden Duale told us that they were behind the funding of Mandamano, okay? So, and you remember, when Ruto was giving that speech, believe it or not, was saying that this government, the Kenyatas, were funding instability in Kenya. I'm not saying that Ruto is not doing things that will cause the population to be unsettled, but I'm saying this Kenyatta family, they have the know-how, they have the money to exacerbate the situation in Kenya. They can fund the Azimio, Raila, and his followers in the name of protesting against the high cost of living. I'm not saying Kenyans cannot protest. Yes, they can, but they can be very insidious reasoning behind it, okay? A very evil, backhanded reason in this. You might think it's political. You might go to the streets thinking that you're fighting for the cost of living, but somebody is fighting for more land because they are at odds with their political enemy. So let's be careful. So what I'm saying is this. If we get to a point where there's the zeitgeist of the time, the political temperatures goes up, people are tired of Ruto, and they're being pushed and funded. Let me just use the Azimio wing, okay? The people at the Azimio wing, because they can raise temperature. Believe it or not, when Raila goes to the streets, whether you like him or not, Raila can raise the country's temperature. He has enough following to actually destabilize the peace of Kenya, okay? You see, he is working on that NADCO. You see, he wants that NADCO, him along with his counterpart Ruto. They want that NADCO, whatever. But if he doesn't get it, okay, Uhuru Kenyatta has the power to raise that political temperature by bringing these protests, okay, and causing anarchy, okay? That's why we should be careful. What I'm trying to say is this. If we get to a point where the political class starts clashing, okay, Uhuru with his beef with Ruto gets to fever pitch, okay, and we have clashes, this can descend into civil war, and it will be a war. It will be a proxy war between these two factions, okay? because these guys, they usually make deals in order to maintain the status quo. All of these guys have skeletons in their closets, whether it's Ruto, whether it's Uhuru, whether it's Kalonzo, whether it's Wamalwa, name it. They have their own skeletons, okay? But once they start clashing, guess who will get to suffer? Guess who will do the bloodshed? I'll give an example. I'm not just talking out of my ass. Let's take 2007. What happened in 2007? The Kalenjins went to attack the Kikuyus in Rift Valley. What were they claiming? They were claiming, some of them, most of them, okay? Remember, those Kalenjins that went there, they were claiming that they were taking their land back from the Moi family and from the Kenyatta family in Rift Valley, okay? It's unfortunate that innocent children and civilians died in Kiambaa, among other places, okay? And they were pushed from their land, okay? Because they fell as collateral damage in this war, okay? But the number one reason, most Kalenjins were saying that they were attacking these people because they felt that it was an opportunity for them to grab back their land. Remember even to this previous Mandamano that happened. Remember those people who went to that Kenyatta land, the land in Kenyatta land. Where was it? That place where they went and stole the mbuzi and everything else. Why were they doing that? They were claiming, oh, you know, even some people say Gachagua was behind it. Some people were saying it was, whatever the reason is, whoever was behind that was making a point that, hey, the Kenyatta family has a lot of land. Let's go raid it and raid the livestock in there. So you see what I'm saying? Regardless of what the political difference and the political temperature, whether it's dressed up as fighting for electoral justice, whether it's dressed up as fighting for the cost of living, the underlying real reason why people always differ and it gets physical and chaotic and violent is the issue of land. That's the basic underlying reason, okay? What is the good you're saying? Kenyans are used as a pawn. It's all political and zero ground for protest. Yes. So that's my point. The underlying, some people use this political chaos to settle scores, just like in 2007. That's why I used 2007 to 2008. Some people use that to settle their issues. That's why you saw when those people raided that Kenyatta farm and they went and took those mbuzi and they went and took those kondoo, those livestock they were stealing from that farm. Why did they target Uhuru's land? Because they know the Kenyatta family has historically, they grabbed a lot of land, okay? So when there's political chaos and there was anarchy, there's lawlessness, they use that as an opportunity to get even, because the Ndumu report that can actually address this issue is not being implemented for lack of political will. These politicians don't want it to happen, as you saw, because they have their interest. They know if we start implementing this Ndumu report, it will mean these politicians returning most of the land that they've grabbed illegally. You understand what I'm saying? But this is what will bring us to a civil war. Remember, I think there was somebody who said it. One day, issue of mashamba will bring this country to its knees. It needs to be addressed. And I feel like this lawsuit by Criticals and Mama Ngina is just the beginning. There's a reason. We should ask ourselves, if really this lady owned this land, rightfully owned this land, okay? This Mama Ngina lady, if she rightfully owned it, why will they stop giving her that certificate? Okay? Because during his son's tenure, Uhuru Kenyatta, I don't think he would have had any problem receiving that certificate. But now Ruto is there, and maybe with the people who are working the lands, whatever, I feel like, you know what, this land, Taita Taveta land, remember, it's one of the lands that were grabbed. They're feeling like, you know what? No. You're not getting this certificate. This belongs to the people. So get out of here, Mama Ngina. and that can actually spark something bigger than it is. But anyway, I want you to play the last video so we can watch the historical deep dive into this land issue. This is the last video that I'll play. Then I'll give my closing statements, and we shall wrap up. But let's listen in to the last part of these videos, which I think is very eye-opening. We are going diving deep into the archives of Citizen TV news. Okay, so here it is, and I will be right back, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. All right, let's watch. Let's watch this one right here. It's a very interesting one.
Land has not only been an integral part of historical injustices in Kenya, it has also, in most cases, remained the basis of many conflicts.
The report of the Truth, Justice and Reconciliation.
Always a sensitive issue, and that already being reflected in the report, with two commissioners, Lady Justice Gertrude Chawatama and Professor Ronald Sly, refusing to append their signatures on the land chapter, saying it was altered and omissions done from the original findings and recommendations. They say they were denied the opportunity to provide their dissenting opinion, a claim denied by the TJRC chair.
It was a bit late, but I'm just telling you that the procedure is you come in 48 hours, you give your views, you say, I don't accept this.
Among key figures mentioned adversely over land include former Vice President Kalonzo Musyoka. He is alleged to have funded an illegal group known as Kabuidu that evicted over 2,000 Tharaka families, and later he and others awarded themselves huge tracts of deserted land at Tholoni. Former Kibwezi MP Kalembe Ndile is also alleged to have participated in grabbing of the Kiboko schemes in Makindu belonging to the Muungano wa Wanavijiji. Another former MP, Ezekiel Barngetun, is also alleged to have illegally acquired 50 hectares of land belonging to Liavo Farmers Cooperative Society. The current chairman of the Commission on Revenue Allocation, Mika Cheserem, also faces allegations of acquiring land irregularly from the cooperative. Retired military general and envoy Lazarus Sumbeyo is also said to have illegally acquired land in Sitatunga Farm in Trans Nzoia. The former Central Province Provincial Commissioner Peter Kiilu is also to be investigated over claims of grabbing a 240-acre piece of forest land in Muhuruini in Magutu location. The report also wants the former Coast Provincial Commissioner Timothy Sirma and former Ministry of Land officials Toshibai Patel and John Mwaura investigated for illegally acquiring huge tracts in the Mtwapa and Kijipwa settlement schemes, yet they are not squatters. About 110 individuals, including former MP John Keane, current Minority Leader Francis Nyenze, and a retired Major General Joseph Musomba, who is said to have acquired a whopping 20,000 hectares in Sultan Hamud, have been referred to the National Land Commission for investigations. Companies are also accused of grabbing land, especially in the coast region, including the Crystalline Salt Limited Company, Solar Limited, Malindi Saltworks Limited, Ken Salt Limited, and Mombasa Saltworks. The Truth, Justice and Reconciliation Commission says that it was during the early years of the late President Kenyatta's administration that mass land grabbing began and became widespread. That between 1964 and 1966, 1/6 of European settlers' lands intended for settlement of the landless were cheaply sold to the late President Kenyatta and his wife Ngina Kenyatta, his children, and retired President Moi. Other political leaders who benefited included the late Mbiu Koinange, the late Oginga Odinga through the Luo Thrift and Trading Company, Gikonyo Kiano, J.M. Kariuki, Masinde Muliro, and Paul Ngei, all now deceased. It further says the late Kenyatta benefited from irregular allocations of land in the coast, and that together with his family owned several beach plots and 11 properties by 1972. Retired President Moi, according to the report, presided over a regime that saw government land grabbed mainly by the president himself, his family, officials in his administration, politicians, civil servants, and military officers. And that in the process, more than 200,000 illegal title deeds were acquired, which ought to be revoked.
Tumepokea, tumeshukuru.
The overriding factor, however, in all the recommendations of the TJRC report on those facing allegations on land crimes is that none has been recommended for prosecution. Instead, the Commission wants the individuals and companies investigated further by the National Land Commission. Hussein Mohammed, Citizen Live at 9.
All right. We see that So everybody has their hands on the cookie jar. A lot of these political elites are in it. And as you've heard Hussein Mohammed back in the day when he was giving this report, there are also some companies, most of them foreign, British to be precise, that also have their hand in this cookie jar. So if we are going to implement this land Ndungu report, it might cause a lot of trouble for a lot of people. Of course, we know about Ruto. That's why Raila used to call it Arab Mashamba. Okay, we know about the Kenyatta family. We know about the Moi family, and so forth, so forth. As you see, Odinga also has his hands on this cookie jar, and also Musyoka. So you see how the system is rotten. But again, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies, and comrades, the political class, if they start clashing, okay, because remember, this Mama Ngina, she's a very powerful woman in Kenya. But Ruto seems to be standing up and saying, you know what, I am just as powerful and I have the sword now. So if you want to play the game, I can play that too. But a clash of egos can actually lead us to 2007. Because remember, what brought us to 2007? The most hard-headed people, the two folks who are really bumping heads, was Ruto and Kenyatta. And it actually showed while they started ruling, when Uhuru Kenyatta started belittling his deputy president at the time, William Ruto, by bringing Mr. Matiang'i to take his position, okay, and ridicule him, okay. Ruto understood the game, and now he's in power, and he's starting to ask questions of the Kenyatta family, saying, oh, you know what, you need to be paying taxes, or you know what, this land thing, you're taking too much, you cannot be this powerful, or you know what, the Kenyatas are behind funding of this mandamano to destabilize Mr. Ruto's government. You can see the clash of egos between the political class is brewing up, even though they are dressing it up as we, the people, being unsettled and unhappy with the current condition, which is true. We are not happy with Ruto's government for the reasons I gave you, whether it's the high cost of living, whether it's the losing of, the devaluation of the Kenyan shillings against the dollar, whether it's just the economy in general, it's not doing well, whether it's the lawlessness, the corruption, the lack of the prosecution of these corrupt cases. It's the same song. We know how it goes. But again, this land issue might spark something that we have never seen. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies, and comrades, it's been 52 minutes. Again, I just want to leave you with this. Watch this video keenly and tell me what you think. Do you think Mama Ngina's lawsuits, him and the criticals suing the government will bring up this issue, the land issue? Will it force us to look at the Ndungu land report keenly? Because it seems like a lot of this political class have their hands in this jaw, and and then we have to address this. But anyway, it's been 50 minutes, ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters. If you haven't subscribed again, go ahead and subscribe. My name is Kenya Revolutionary. As you can see, just type it like this and subscribe, like, share, comment. Tell me what you think. Do you think this will spark a bigger issue? Because like I said, tomorrow I will go live again for 30, 40, or even an hour and talk about Kenya's postponed civil war. The civil war that Kenya has always postponed. It is coming. I'm not praying for it. I don't want it. I hope we avert it and actually address the issues that can actually get us to that point. And land is one of the issues, among others. Another issue is tribalism. Okay, I will address that tomorrow, because I think these are the things that actually may lead us to a point where we might go the Rwanda 1994 way. I know we might think that we are a relatively peaceful country, but the utterances by this political class, whether it's on the Kenya Kwanza side, whether it's on the Azimio side, are not promising. It might take us to somewhere we don't want to. Mr. Goody is telling us Mama Ngina has got no grounds but power. You are true. That's very truthful. Mama Ngina does not care about the law. She knows she's powerful. Her money is long, as they say. She can make things happen. Goody is telling me make it an hour tomorrow. Okay, I will make it an hour. And hopefully tomorrow you show up. I won't block you, Mr. Goody. I will hope some people will join me too. I will have to bring a compilation, gather my thoughts and bring that issue, because that issue, I think I can see it. And just to give you a the reason why I'm going to bring it, I want to say something, because this is going to be a preview of tomorrow. I often say this: Raila, like him or not, Raila has helped this country avert civil war, like him or not. For people like me who used to support him back in the day and feel that he has abandoned us, okay, and he's a self-serving politician. Of course he is. Regardless of that, I think Raila's role has played a pivotal role in averting civil war in Kenya. Like him or not, conman or not, Raila is one of that guy who actually made this country not go to civil war. Even though he did, it was God used him in a way to avert this, because there was a point of time where Kenyans had enough. Okay, they had enough, and they said, no, we had enough of this nonsense. We are going to take power back to us. And the powers that be, as it was in 2017 and 2007, they were intransigent, and they were maintaining that, you know what, if you guys decide that you want to go to war, Mudaura, along with Uhuru Kenyatta and Maina Njenga being his lieutenant, they were ready and they were willing to unleash terror on anyone that will try to physically remove them from power. But Raila, through Kofi Annan and the Bush government through Condoleezza Rice, actually averted a civil war. The same thing in 2017, the people rose up and said, we are removing Uhuru Kenyatta, whether he likes it or not. But again, Raila stepped in, and whether he took the money and did whatever he did, well, God knows what he did. But he averted another possible civil war, because Kenyans were tired. But this time, ladies and gentlemen, people are saying, no, Raila, it is time. Thank you very much, Baba. But it is time for people to actually, take power to their hands, and it will go. It won't be pretty. It won't be pretty, because, as I said, most of the underlying issues is not just the economy. It is this land issue. It is tribalism. It is corruption. It is all the above. I will give you the list, and I will give you the snippets, and I'll give you the spiritual part of it, because there's some pastors who have actually, well, whether you believe it or not, have prophesied about Kenya possibly facing a civil war. Of course, we can also look at the political history of how we've averted political civil war, okay? Because, war is an extension of politics, okay? Politics is all about power. So whether it's the power from the people, the many, or the few, okay? So tune in tomorrow. I'll be here. I'll tell you what they've postponed, the war, the Kenyan civil war that we always postponed. We always postponed that war. It was always coming, but we postponed it. And Raila Odinga played a pivotal role in actually trying to avert that. So whether you like him or not, whether you're on his side or not, this man had played. Again, I know I've always called him names or whatever. Raila Odinga has done his thing, okay? I'm not taking anything away from him. He's done his part as a politician. I like it or not, even though I feel like he's a conman, but you have to give him respect for who he is. I can sit here and talk smack about this man, but he earned his stripes, okay? He earned his stripes, okay? Even though he's selfish and he cares about himself, but he earned his stripes. We cannot. There was a times when he did the right thing. He fought for the Kenyans, and we can always respect him for that, regardless of how crazy I talk here on the internet. That's something that I cannot take away from him. Even if I meet him, I will never call him a conman in his face out of respect, okay? But we'll just call him a conman here for the sake of for shits and giggles. But yes, so tune in tomorrow. I'll try to go on hours. Mr. Goodyear is telling me, hopefully if he shows up on camera for the first time, it will be a great thing to see who this Goodyear person is. He's a great great contributor. So, and it's been I'm trying to push it to an hour. So tune in tomorrow and join the show. I will put the link. We'll talk about this, the Kenya's civil war that we've always postponed. We've always postponed this war. It's always coming. When we're on the brink of it, somebody comes and stops. And maybe it's God using people to, because Kenyans, we are known to pray. There's a strong people, intercessors who will pray over the country and save us to avert the war, using our leaders to kind of get into their senses. But as I see it today, my friends, ladies and gentlemen, the political class are scaring me, because if you see issues like this, this is a sign. And even Raila said it. He said, the clouds are gathering. The clouds are gathering. Ruto will not leave peacefully. I'm sorry, he won't. He won't leave peacefully. He has the sword, as he told you. He has the sword, okay? The people have the power. But the problem is there's also forces behind the opposition that don't mean well for the majority of Kenyans. The people, they mean well for themselves and their interests. And when these two forces clash, these political forces clash, we might end up in the streets and there might be bloodshed. Ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, friends, enemies, and comrades, I will not go past this. It's been an hour. Thank you very much, Goodyear. Thank you much, Brother Benson, and everyone else that joined this live. I will see you tomorrow, probably the same time, between 1 and 2, 3, or whatever the case is. Just look for me at the same time range, okay? It's 1. Wait, yeah, you know the time, okay? So anyway, thank you very much. As I say, my name is Ngina Revolutionary. Share, like, comment, and most importantly, subscribe. You need to subscribe so you can see this ugly face talk to you about Kenyan politics, okay? Anyway, that's my time. Merry Christmas and have a happy new year. I'll see you guys tomorrow for another topic, all right? Rebel salute, and I'm out.